You are the person with the most potential, but you are still average for a very specific reason. Most people are not average because they lack talent. There is something else happening underneath it, something most people never stop long enough to notice. And once you see it, trust me, you cannot unsee it. And if you have felt like you were meant for more, but your life keeps circling the same level, this is where everything starts to make sense. There is a pain that comes from watching other people win when it feels like they did not even have to fight for it. They meet the right person. They get the opportunity. They catch the lucky break. They receive the thing you would have treated like an answered prayer, and sometimes they do not even seem grateful for it. So the question starts eating at you. Why them? Why not me? But luck is only the visible part of the story. You are seeing what landed in their hands. You are not seeing what it is doing to them, whether it is growing them, distracting them, trapping them, or giving them just enough comfort to stay the same. Your path may have looked slower because you were not being prepared for something small. You were being prepared for something that would require strength, maturity, and the ability to hold it without losing yourself. That does not make the waiting easy, but it does mean you were not skipped. You were being built for the kind of breakthrough that does not just change your mood, it changes the direction of your entire life. Some people do not stay stuck because they were never gifted. They stay stuck because they were praised too early, and that praise became something they had to protect. When you are told young that you are talented, smart, advanced, special, or ahead of everyone else, it feels good at first. But later, it can make you terrified of being a beginner again. Because now, being bad at something does not just feel uncomfortable. It feels like losing the identity people gave you. That is why some people avoid new skills, new rooms, and new chances. They are not lazy. They are scared to be seen starting from zero after being known as someone who was once ahead. Early praise becomes dangerous when it makes you protect an image instead of building a future. And this is where you begin to pass them, because the person willing to look foolish long enough to grow will eventually go further than the person who only knows how to look gifted. Being underestimated can feel painful, but it can also protect your growth. When people expect too much from you, they start watching everything. They question your timing, your choices, your changes, your direction. Their expectations create pressure before your path even has space to breathe. But when nobody expects much from you, you get room. You can change without explaining every move. You can build without people interfering. You can become sharper while everyone still thinks they already know you. Being overlooked hurts until you realize it gave you the one thing attention never could: room. That is the hidden advantage. People are not preparing for your rise because they do not believe it is coming. So by the time they finally notice, they are not watching you begin. They are watching what you were becoming the whole time. There are 3 expectations around your life that are starting to lose power, and the first one is the expectation that you will stay where you are. Some people have already placed you in a fixed position in their mind. They think they know your level, your limits, your habits, your ceiling. They are not watching for your rise because they already decided what your life is supposed to look like. But spiritual growth does something strange. It changes you before it announces you. It makes you quieter, sharper, less available for the same distractions, less impressed by the same things. So while people are still judging you from old evidence, something inside you is already moving differently. The second expectation you're about to break is the expectation that you will settle for less than you are capable of. This one is deeper because sometimes it does not come from others. Sometimes it comes from the version of you that got tired of hoping, the part of you that said, maybe this is enough. Maybe I should stop wanting more. Maybe I should accept the smaller life because at least it feels safe. But that is exactly what is being dismantled now. You're starting to feel uncomfortable with what you used to tolerate. Not because you are ungrateful, but because your spirit knows the difference between peace and resignation. Settling is what happens when your fear negotiates a future your soul never agreed to. And the third expectation is the most dangerous one. The belief that your best years already happened, that you missed your timing, that you were supposed to be further by now, that the opportunity passed, the door closed, the moment ended, and now you are just trying to make the most of what is left. But that is not what is happening. What is happening is that your life is being rearranged in a way that does not match your old timeline. Your best years did not pass you. They could not arrive while you were still trying to become them through old fears, old pressure, and old versions of success that were never really yours. There is a point where the thing you want stops feeling like a fantasy and starts feeling strangely familiar. You may not have it physically yet. Nobody around you may see it yet. There may be no proof on the outside, but inside your mind, it has already started to become real. And that matters more than people understand. Because manifestation is not just wishing for something and waiting for the sky to hand it over. Manifestation begins when your inner world stops treating the desire like something far away. You start thinking from it, not just about it. You start making decisions like a person who is slowly aligning with that life. You stop begging for the future and start recognizing it. If it has become real in your head, it has already crossed the first border into your life. That is why you have to be careful with the images you keep feeding. Not in a fearful way, but in a powerful way. Because the mind rehearses reality before the body arrives there. The life you keep making familiar internally becomes easier for you to recognize, choose, and hold externally. This is where a lot of people lose it. They see something clearly for a moment, then doubt attacks it, comparison attacks it, delay attacks it, and suddenly they abandon the inner reality before the outer one has time to form. They plant the seed, then keep digging it up to check if it is real. But if it has become real in your head, stay with it. Keep returning to it. Keep letting that picture mature, not as desperation, not as obsession, as agreement. Because sometimes the first sign that something is almost yours is not that the world gives you proof. It is that your spirit stops treating it like something impossible. There is a trap that happens when people start improving, and most people do not even notice it. At first, you are just trying to get your life together. You are trying to become stronger, clearer, more disciplined, more focused, more aligned with what you know you are meant to become. But then people start watching. Maybe they do not say it directly, but you can feel it. They start using your progress as proof that change is possible. They start looking at your growth like it gives them permission to hope again. And that sounds beautiful, but it can become heavy, because now your growth is not just yours anymore. Now you feel like you cannot fall, cannot slow down, cannot be confused, cannot change direction, because someone somewhere is watching you and thinking if they can do it, maybe I can too. But here is the dangerous part. When you become someone's symbol of hope, you can start performing progress instead of living it. You start making choices that look inspiring, not choices that are actually honest. You start trying to remain impressive, consistent, strong, and motivational, even when your spirit is asking for something quieter, deeper, and more real. Progress becomes a prison when you keep growing for the people watching instead of the soul living inside you. And this is where you have to be careful. You are allowed to disappoint the image people created from your rise. You are allowed to grow in ways that do not look exciting from the outside. You are allowed to stop being someone's proof and become a full human being again. Because the moment you stop performing progress is often the moment it becomes real. That is when you stop asking, how does this look? And you start asking, is this actually mine? Is this actually true? Is this actually the path I want? Or did I just become addicted to being seen as the person who made it? You are about to exceed expectations, but not by carrying everyone's hope on your back. You are going to exceed them by finally choosing the kind of growth that does not need to look inspirational to be powerful. And now, it's time for today's comment of the day. You are all you need. You are your greatest hero, friend, healer, and your own biggest fan. Only you know what's best for you. I really like the message behind this. There comes a point where you stop looking for someone else to rescue you, not because people don't matter, they absolutely do, but because you realize the biggest turning points in your life usually begin with your own decisions. You're the one who chooses to get back up. You're the one who takes the first step. You're the one who decides whether to keep believing in yourself when no one else seems to. That doesn't mean you have to do life alone. It just means you never forget that the person with the greatest power to change your life has always been you. Thank you for sharing this. The world may not have noticed everything you have done, but the universe did. It saw the days you still showed up when nobody checked on you. It saw the patience you had to practice when your life was not giving you proof. It saw the prayers you whispered when you had nothing left to say out loud. It saw the weight you carried while still trying to be a decent person. It saw the moments where you could have become bitter, cruel, careless, or fake. But something in you still chose to do what was right. And that matters, because the world often rewards the loudest person in the room. The person who knows how to look successful, the person who knows how to make noise, the person who knows how to turn every small move into a performance. But the universe is not confused by presentation. It does not need you to announce your effort for it to count. The universe does not forget what the world was too distracted to clap for. That is why you cannot measure your future only by what people have recognized so far. Some of your most important work happened in private. Some of your deepest growth happened when nobody was impressed. Some of your strongest choices happened when there was no reward, no applause, no audience, and no proof that it would matter. But it did matter. Every time you stayed patient instead of forcing the wrong thing, it mattered. Every time you kept going without being celebrated, it mattered. Every time you did the right thing, when nobody would have known if you did not, it mattered. And this is why your next chapter may feel sudden to others, but it will not be sudden to the universe. To people, it may look like you came out of nowhere. But spiritually, nothing about it is random. It is the result of quiet records, unseen effort, and private obedience finally turning into visible movement. Most people think expectations grow in a straight line, but they do not. They compound. That means if one person expects the same life from themselves every year and another person quietly raises their standard just a little bit, the difference may not look huge at first. In the beginning, it might look like nothing special. One person is only asking a little more from themselves, a little more discipline, a little more honesty, a little more courage, a little less tolerance for excuses. But over time, That small raise becomes dangerous because the person who expects more from themselves this year will make different choices than the person who expects the same thing as last year. Then those choices create a new baseline, and from that new baseline, they expect more again. So their growth is not starting from the same place anymore. It is stacking. Your future does not change because you make one huge decision. It changes because your lowest standard quietly becomes higher than your old best effort. That is why the gap between people can look small in year 1 and almost unbelievable by year 5. At first, it is just a small difference in what they tolerate, a small difference in what they accept, a small difference in what they demand from their own life. But one person keeps repeating the same emotional level, the same habits, the same excuses, the same comfort, the same inner ceiling. Nothing compounds because nothing was raised. The other person keeps raising the floor. And once the floor rises, the whole life rises with it. That is why you are about to exceed expectations. Not because you suddenly became lucky, but because something inside you stopped agreeing to the old baseline. And when your baseline changes, your future has no choice but to start changing with it. There comes a point where your progress will stop making sense to the people watching from the outside. They will look at your life and wonder how things started moving so quickly. They will say you got lucky. They will say you met the right person, found the right opportunity, said the right thing at the right time, or somehow ended up in the right place by accident. They will speak about your rise as if it came from one random moment, because that is the only part they were awake enough to notice. But they did not see what was happening before that moment. They did not see the private decisions that nobody praised. They did not see the days where nothing looked different, but you still chose not to quit. They did not see the times you stayed disciplined while your life gave you no reward for it. They did not see how many times you had to keep believing in something that looked unreasonable from the outside. That is why people confuse invisible preparation with luck. Overnight success is what delayed momentum looks like to people who miss the waiting season. And this is important, because when your momentum finally becomes visible, it may even surprise you, not because you did not work for it, but because the results may start arriving faster than the effort people can currently see. One door opens, then another one connects to it. One decision creates a chain of movement. One opportunity pulls something else forward. Suddenly, the same life that felt heavy and slow begins responding in a way that feels almost unreal. But spiritually, nothing about it is random. Every small choice was adding weight. Every delay was adding patience. Every disappointment was removing weakness. Every moment where you could have abandoned yourself but did not was building pressure behind the scenes. And pressure does not stay hidden forever. At some point, what was building in secret has to break through in public. That is the day your momentum stops looking logical. The people who doubted you will not understand the speed. The people who underestimated you will not understand the timing. The people who only saw the surface will not understand why everything suddenly seems to be working in your favor. But you will understand, because you will know this was not luck arriving out of nowhere. This was the return on everything you carried quietly. This was the answer to the effort nobody counted. This was the visible result of all the unseen days where you kept going without proof. Life was not ignoring you before. It was letting the unseen work become strong enough to carry the visible blessing. And for those of you who are still watching, thank you so much. Do not mistake this season for proof that you are behind. Do not let the slow parts convince you that nothing is happening. Some people are staying stuck because they keep choosing what feels familiar, but you're being pushed into something bigger than familiarity. Keep raising your standard. Keep choosing the life that still scares the old version of you. Keep moving, even when nobody understands why you have not given up yet. because one day what looked delayed will make perfect sense. Take care.